What's good, people? It's your boy Blunt. I wanted to start off this week's episode with discussing a little bit about being a fan or a fanatic. Now, the difference between the two is very subtle, but very huge at the same time. A fanatic will see no wrong in whatever the source is that they are fanatic of, aka, i.e., movies, books, TV series. No matter what it is, they can do no wrong. If you look at a regular fan, if they see that there's something wrong, let's say it's some bad acting, they'll let you know. A fan will be like, a fanatic will be like, nah, you bugging, blah, blah. They don't even see it. It's like almost comical to the point, that you can't talk to them. There's only two things on this planet that I am very close to being a fanatic on. And one is kaiju movies. In particular Godzilla, but kaiju movies in general. I am a huge fan. I'm not quite a fanatic. I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there. And Star Wars is my second one, where I'm almost there to being a fanatic, but I'm just not quite there. I'm not a fanatic. I don't think I'll ever be a fanatic of anything, but I might get close to it. Which brings me to last week's episode of Andor. If you don't understand why I'm not a fanatic, check that episode out and you'll see why. But that episode brings me to this episode because I got a request to do today's episode. And so we're going to get right into it. And that is my review on Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, your boy Blunt. And Star Wars, The Tales of the Jedi consists of 6 different episodes. With the rise of TikTok, it seems that everything is trending to much shorter videos. TikTok being that you can only use about 3-minute videos. I think some people now have 6 minutes. I'm not quite sure, but that everybody is starting to follow that trend. Disney is not an exception to that rule. They have done other episodes like other Star Wars episodes, miniseries where they have 8 to 10 minute episodes and stuff like that. And Tales of the Jedi is another version of that. Each six of these episodes, which is season 1, consists of 6 episodes. Most of them are under 20 minutes long. Some of them as long as 18 minutes, and some of them is longer as 14 minutes. But and they consist of following 2 different characters, one being Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano was Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader's apprentice, his only apprentice that I know of. And the story starts with her birth. If you follow Clone Wars, we meet Ahsoka Tano on a battle. I think it's Christosis. I forgot which planet it was. But she came into the battlefield to become the Padawan of none other than Obi-Wan. But unbeknownst to Obi-Wan and Anakin, Yoda saw differently. Yoda saw that Ahsoka's attitude and stubbornness was much like Anakin, so he actually changed it up, informed the Jedi Council, and told them that he's going to assign Ahsoka to Anakin. On the battlefield, Yoda assigns him Ahsoka Tano as his new Padawan. He reluctantly agreed, and they've been together to thick and thin from that point on. A little rocky in the beginning, but if you watch Clone Wars, you see how the relationship gets stronger and stronger all the way until their departure. an inevitable departure. So we get to see how she comes into power. I was hoping really that we will see Master Plo Koon find her, discover her. I wanted to see that happen. We see a clip of it, but we never really see exactly how that turned out. Then we go fast forward to her training with Anakin. Now, I kind of feel like it's a little redundant. It's important, but it's a little redundant, because if you watched the Clone Wars from day one all the way to its finale, which was phenomenal, you know that when they issued Order 66, that moment they issued Order 66, and you watch it from Ahsoka's perspective, you at that moment, and she's dodging and ricocheting the shots from the clone troopers on that small table in a small room with a lot of clone troopers around, and she's blasting these all of the shots. I know I did. I can't speak for you, but I know that I felt that the whole seasons from season 1 to now was training her for that particular moment, and you kind of felt like it's paying off. And so what I'm getting at is that this episode with Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi was very good. So if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, you get to see a piece of that, because that's not in the Clone Wars. But again, you see Anakin's love for Ahsoka, which brings me to another point of how these Jedi Masters, since they don't have family, right? They take them away from their family when they're very young, so they don't have and they're forbidden to have loved ones. They can't really get married or anything. They can have casual sex, but they cannot love like that, because it becomes a weapon against them. So they tend to see their Padawans like adopted children. That is their connection. That's something that can't be helped, and we get to see that and verbally expressed by Count Dooku when he's talking about Qui-Gon Jinn. It's like how they grow up so fast. And it's like something you say to a child for your children, right? So that was very interesting that they brought out in Tales. And so with Ahsoka, you see that Anakin is training her. She's doing the regular training, but that's not good enough for Anakin. Anakin goes far above and beyond. So he wanted to do the same thing for her. So he had her training with Rex and the crew on blasting laser fire, because droids are pretty much predictable, but clone troopers aren't. So he felt it'll be a much harder task, and you see her training for D-Day. They picked a spot when they showed the fruits of her labor, of when Rex stood behind her and faked her capture. Again, if you haven't seen Clone Wars, you know what, it's been out for years. You need to watch it. Sorry, spoiler. But anyway, they picked a spot where he walks behind her and he's acting like she surrendered, and that's like at one of the very last episodes of Clone Wars. I kind of feel like it should have been Order 66, the minute Order 66. I think that was a more appropriate situation for her, even though they both were pretty bad situations for her. But I felt like that was the appropriate spot, Order 66. So you see Rex says to her, he stands behind her, puts his gun to her back, and it says, I hope all that training paid off, which was beautiful. That's pretty much how they ended. And the second character that season 1 revolves around is Dooku. Count Dooku, who used to be a Jedi Master, was shunned from being from holding a seat on a council, and altogether end up leaving the Jedi Order because of what he felt the Jedi was starting to turn into, where it didn't follow the beliefs, and he felt that they were getting too political. And you see his fall to the dark side as he leaves the Jedi Order to become a Sith Lord, and even becomes Palpatine, aka Sith Darth Sidious apprentice. And we all know the rule too. right? Do I have to go over that? Really? So with Count Dooku's storyline, we start off with him and a very young person who, I'm not going to name no names. You can watch it for yourself. And they're on a mission to a planet that is where one of the senator's son has been kidnapped. And on the planet while we're there, you see the aggression in Dooku. Like, he comes out, he sits at the table, and he tells them, I'm here for one thing and one thing only, and throws his lightsaber on the table. That, bruh, that only means one thing. And so him and his young apprentice is there, and they kind of find out why the people on the planet did what they did. And when Dooku hears what happens and talks to the senator's son, he starts to see the planet people's side of the story, and he kind of feels that the senator is actually in the wrong in this particular reason, and he kind of goes against the grain, where his apprentice has to step in. So you kind of see that, okay, what happened is, when you see what happens, you understand where Duke was coming from. And then we leave that. We go to, on the next episode, he's on at the Jedi Temple, and we hear word that his Padawan came across a Sith Lord. Now, reminder, at this point, Sith have been extinct for thousands of years already, if not hundreds, and they haven't been Sith around in a long time. And so they're buzzing around the Jedi Temple about Qui-Gon Jinn's interaction with a Sith Lord. And we all know that's from the Phantom Menace, when he ran into Darth Maul on the planet and they dueled. So they're talking about the duel. A lot of people are speculating if it even happened. And so Dooku's like, what? What do you mean? Like, you don't believe him? And so, they're like, his imagination is just like yours, Dooku. And because Dooku's always been talking about the Sith, mind you, he's talking with the Sith Lord. So he's telling them, and they're not listening. So Dooku's getting more angry that Qui-Gon had to duel Darth Maul. And at one point, we all know what happens to Qui-Gon Jinn, and that's like the straw that broke the camel's back. And we get to see that, and we get to see him leave the Jedi Temple. And we also find out what happens to Yaddle, because we've seen Yaddle in the first episode and nobody's seen it ever since. So we find out the very tragic story of what happened to Yaddle, and it's very sad. And it's like, we get to see their side of things, and we get to see Dooku's side of things, but him doing what he did to Yaddle was crossing the line, which makes you know that you don't want to be a part of a Sith, right? So that was very an integral part to see what happened there, and that was very good. Anyway, so we follow those two. It starts off with the birth of Ahsoka Tano, and it ends with Ahsoka Tano. So my total assessment for Tales of the Jedi is going to be a must-watch. It really is a must-watch. I would hope that if you watch Clone Wars, I hope that you watch Clone Wars. I hope that you watch Rebels. I hope that you watch all the, everything up to this particular point, so you can be up to speed of what's happening. It's not necessary, but if you did, then it will fill in some blanks for you that you may not know that you even wanted to know. So I really, really, really enjoyed it, which is in stark contrast to last week's review on Andor, which was total more. Anyway, again, I felt that this was one of the really, really best episodes they had to put out. Even though they're really short, you don't mind it being short, 18 minutes, 14 minutes. You don't mind them being short, but you really get into the characters, and you kind of want more. I want more Dooku. I want more Ahsoka. I want more of Mace, especially Mace. And I got a theory on Mace that I want to bring up in another video. All right. So I appreciate you watching. If you stayed this far, I'm the host, your boy Blunt. Thank you for watching this. Let me know how you feel this video went. I kind of did a little differently. I wanted to do a little bit extra editing and stuff like that. So let me know what you think of the video. If you watch Tales of the Jedi, let me know also in the comments how you feel about it. Am I right? Am I on point? Did I miss something? Should I say something else? How you feel about it? Let me know. All right. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Your boy Blunt, and I am out. Till the next time. Deuce.